Namaskar to all of you first. Special greetings to Sandeep Narang, who is here. Sandeep has been working with over 150, 200 colleges, as he keeps correcting me every time I introduce him or say anything about his work. We have Jaimini Oberoi from Jaipur, and we have our good, solid support called Dr. Upendra Raval, who is also present here. This session was actually supposed to be, barring the title, which has remained the same, it was supposed to be delivered by somebody called Madhulika Chowdhury, who is also part of the mafia, the green mafia, shall we say, you know. She is also part of the WOW Action Forum. In fact, I might take the liberty of also adding that Dr. Donde is now on a mission to see how she can work on 2 rivers in Indore, and 1 more river called the Arkavati River to the north of Bangalore, northwest of Bangalore. And there is another thing in Hyderabad. We are trying to see what we can bring in as intervention with the state government. These are tough ones. There are 2 sets of things, as you all know, and you must try and think about this. There are changes that we must bring at the personal level, or I will say the in-building scale. What can we do in our own homes, our apartments, and such things at the control level of a defined neighborhood? The other is to try and see how we can do things at the in-city scale. And the biggest single Himalayan block when it comes to working at the in-city scale is the government. Because you have to find ways of, you know, negotiating your things through various levels of secretaries, councillors, commissioners, and whatnot, right? And one of the things you will see as she presents today is that somewhere she has very assertively decided that she will get people in different agencies to talk to each other. As you all know, especially people who are in faculty, in the government, to get one department to talk to another is impossible. I'm not saying nearly impossible. And therefore, to bring this impossible to, you know, to a situation where they can get together is something she has managed to do, especially in the western region around Mumbai. Fascinating stories she will tell you of the rivers, of the lakes that she's working on, of the dirt, the grime, the impossibly difficult situations that we have in our cities, of the callousness, indifference, and the blind eye that most people within the administration turn to when it comes to such work, and how we are stuck with certain models, or we have ossified with certain models over the last, say, 40 years. I will leave that there and only tell you this much about her. Very briefly, she holds 2 PhD degrees, one in science, in zoology, and the other in commerce and management, interestingly. And therefore, she connects constantly science and the administrative challenges, the management challenges. She keeps telling people, and you'll see her talking about it, how she is sort of trying constantly to see that this blend of administration and, say, passion for doing things is brought together, is synergized. And as a PhD guide in education and in zoology, she's been trying to help many students, young professionals, to gain expertise in those fields that they want to work on, and which, of course, relate to these concerns that she's been working on with great commitment. She's, of course, first an academician, but I have found, and you will see that when she narrates her story of things that she does, that she is beyond a normal academician. She's hands-on. She's constantly talking of solutions that need to be taken up. I'll now request Professor Mohit Bansal to see if he can share with his students who are here. I know you had a meeting in the morning. I would have expected many more people as participants. We have about 30 now, and I'm sure there'll be many more to come in. Mohit, I'd request you to tell your message, and share your message to the children on the importance of having our cities with clean lakes and cleaner rivers. Over to you.
Yes. So,
your voice is breaking.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Thank you for the refrigeration and air conditioning, that we do discuss more about sustainability, consumption, and uh,
Sorry,
like
your voice is still
refrigeration.
breaking. Maybe you should do something about it. Maybe you can hold that mic or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, is it working now? Hello.
Yes.
So, my point of view, uh, it's about like air. We sustainability so that uh, can, I mean, impact the environment least. So as far as the topic is concerned, like I was, I mean, told to discuss something about the sustainability methods to restore water bodies. So for that, I have prepared a few points. For that, we constantly in touch with this to reduce the pollution. Like number one, if we discuss, is the treating wastewater. So one of the biggest threats to the water bodies is untreated sewage and industrial waste. Right now, the place I am in Ghaziabad, in northern India, there are so many industries related to the heavy, I mean, industry. So building and upgrading wastewater treatment plants is essential to stop pollution, which is generating at the source. And we can, I mean, method like reducing the fertilizer runoff. So excess fertilizer from the lawns and farms can cause algae blooms, which may harm water quality. And using the native plants and organic fertilizers can help reduce runoff. So in that aspect, we also discuss with the students that in the final year when they go for the final year project during their submission of degree in Bachelor of Technology, so they must choose to reduce kind of fertilizer runoff. So by the use of IoTs and all that, and another one like controlling the stormwater runoff. So stormwater runoff can carry pollutants from the streets and parking lots into the waterways. So planting rain gardens and using green infrastructure like permeable pavements so can help in filtering the runoff before it reaches the water body. And then largely if we discuss like improve, we can improve the habitat also, like by generating the riparian buffer strips. So planting trees and shrubs along the banks of the river, which are, I mean, prevalent. Earlier was more, but right now with the infra and all, so these I mean cutting of the trees along the banks and these things happen. So by planting trees and these along the banks of the river and streams may help stabilize the shorelines, and it may prevent erosion and provide shades for the aquatic life. And we natives which are uh, plants, they have the and provide food for the wildlife. And the fish passage, if we discuss that how fish is important for the another uh, our water body is like so we in the chosen part like construct and smoother life and fill in waterways. So using proper erosion control techniques like slit fences and straw bales is essential for to reducing these kind of erosions. Then we may discuss about the dredging, because in some cases it may be necessary to remove built up sediment from the bottom of a water body. So this can be done
Yeah.
to minimize the disturbances. So these are a few methods, I mean, in the restoration of the water bodies, sustainable methods for restoring the water. So uh, major points like
Got it.
water
Much,
treatment.
yeah, yeah. All of which she will be talking about. I'm very
Yes.
glad that you sort of uh, talked about banks of rivers and and lake shore restoration and such. Trust me on this. She is going to talk about all of these and more.
Great.
One significant thing that I did not add for all of you youngsters here is that she's a Fulbright scholar. She's called what they call a scholar in residence. Last year, she did a stint in New York City on the Hudson and a couple of other things. And I'm hoping that she will also talk about that work. And she believes that the challenge in a city like New York is as bad or as good as it is in any of our cities, right? So the challenge is universal when it comes to water. The other I want to tell you is that she's worked on many multiple rivers, as I said earlier. She brings a very rare set of insights. Over to you, Snehal.
Yes, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I'm thankful to the Prem Jain Trust and this college, Engineering College, who has today come forward to organize this particular session. And I'm looking forward to having a nice kind of an interaction where we can, if at all we can, help in any ways that we would like to look at. So I'll start with the presentation and accordingly we'll go because we have limited time. So let me start with it. Yes, as just recently it was Earth Day, 2 days back. So on the World Earth Day, that I wish everybody has the same mindset and then we work towards nurturing our planet and doing more towards the earth. Now, today's topic which I have taken up is water conservation practices and sewage treatment for river rejuvenation. I'll skip some of the slides actually in the last minute that I had to change, and that's why some few things I have kept it as it is. Now, going from the tradition, first we have to understand why rivers are supposed to be treated or why we have to do the sewage treatment in a manner it is being today spoken. Why today we say if the conventional methods are a failure, why is it? Because we have not understood what is water, what is a river. So let us first look at that. So from the traditional, our Artha Veda, we know that Upanishads and all, that Apa Brahmasmi, it is in our culture, in our tradition. So water is life, water is God, water is creator. This all we know, and earth is what we all have in common. But still, we have been ignoring this fact. And in our institutions, wherever we are today teaching, it's like with the virtual data that we are working. Now, because as I have come to know that the audience is architecture, engineering colleges, that is why I'm trying to say few additional things here, where we have to understand whether we can, when we are talking about such kind of a treatment or we are talking about the nature, whether we can do our teaching learning inside the four walls with the virtual data, or we have to go for the practical sensing the things on the field and creating certain kind of designs. So as we know that Niti Aayog has already given to understand by 2030 that it will be 40% of the population which will be not having any access to water. So from all these things, we have to be very smart, and we have to, like smart cities today being built, and same way we have to be more and more smart to have a smart kind of a design. So before going for that, this slide is very much, close to my heart, because I feel that we have to always understand first what we are doing and what exactly it is, how we have to, club in to understand what is Nadi. So let me talk about Nadi in Hindi only, because that's in Hindi language, it is much more, I feel better, because it was coined in that manner. सो हिमजल भूजल स्रोत एवं वर्षा के जल को उद्गम से संगम तक स्वयं प्रवाहित रखती हुई जो अविरलता, निर्मलता और स्वतंत्रता के साथ बहती है और सदियों से सूरज, वायु और धरती से आजादी से स्पर्श करती हुई जीव सृष्टि से परस्पूरक और पोषक नाता जोड़कर जो प्रवाहित है वह नदी है. Today we don't know the definition of nadi. Now look at it. Important keywords we have to understand. Himjal, Bhujal, Strot or Varsha ka jal. That means it is saying about the three sources. And we have to look at any river from its origin to its confluence, not just in, bits and pieces and in some stretches, because in that manner, you will not be able to do neither water conservation nor the river rejuvenation. And even for the sewage treatment, because it's like it's flowing from the upstream to the downstream areas, that we have to look at that what are the sources from where we are getting those pollutants and all. That's how we have to understand first the nature, characteristics of river we have to understand. So Himjal, Bhujal, Strot evam वर्षा के जल उद्गम से संगम, that means from origin to confluence, स्वयं प्रवाहित रखती हुई. Today our rivers are not स्वयं, it is not self flowing. We are putting all this treated sewage water and then we are giving it a flow and we are calling it स्वयं प्रवाहित. जो अविरलता, निर्मलता और स्वतंत्रता means with purity, cleanliness and independently which is able to flow. Today rivers are not at all of that condition. And other feature of it is सदियों से सूरज, that is पंच महाभूत, that it has to have a contact with this, like the Suraj, Vayu or Dharti. Today, neither the sun is able to penetrate in the water, nor from the, we have the clean air that it will be able to, substantiate for certain things, nor the soil is also clean. And it's very, very important when the sunlight is falling, it has to have a touch of all these things. And with that only, it will be able to give rise to the biodiversity. So, Jeev Shrishti se Paraspurak Poshak Nata Jodkar, when it is through this biodiversity, it is flowing, that is what is Reva. But today we are just in isolation, we are working in every field and then we are not knowing that how we have to treat. And before that, we are not even looking at the rivers, that what is the actual condition, no prior survey, no prior analysis of it. And when we do even the analysis, we depend on either the pollution control board members or somebody else, and then the parameters which is being even considered for the prior study of the particular water body for its treatment, it's not complete. It will not be complete unless and until we take physico-chemical parameters, we take biological parameters, microbial parameters, and the chemical parameters. And today, if you look at the reports which are coming from the Pollution Control Board, it will always have the missing factor of the microbial studies, which is very, very essential. Look at on the left-hand side, I'm showing a Nasik Godavari's condition. Look at it, the way it has got completely eutrophication is there because of a lot of drainage which is being discharged directly, and ultimately these are only leading to this kind of a century. Like if we are thinking that in 21st century what will be the condition, it is going to be this way unless we treat our water bodies properly. And as it is already being said that in 21st century this will be the condition of the water bodies, and hungry and starved people will be more. And for that purpose, that we have to understand that to avoid the sixth extinction, because we are very fast going towards the sixth extinction, and we have to look at the food chain. We are not able to understand that from the food chain also many of the aspects which are required, or the fauna, floras, which are very important part of it, many are becoming extinct, and we have to keep it intact. And for that, we have to understand how we are going to take care. Now, the best example is the Aral Sea of Uzbekistan. We know that recently a lot of videos which were floating in the WhatsApp group, that we have understood how the condition of Aral Sea was. And today, what is the condition after it has got completely, it has got dried only because of agriculture and manufacturing industries, that they wanted to supply water, and the total mismanagement which has happened in terms of water management. And that is why a sea itself has got completely dried. And not only that, the salt which remained with the wind, it has taken to so many distant places, and all the agricultural lands and all has become totally barren. And from all these, the case studies or such a kind of situation, we have to take lessons. Now, we don't have to repeat it. But then this is again data which I have taken from the website itself about the groundwater. If you look at that, it is showing that 87% of water we use is for 87% for irrigation, then industry is 2% and 11% for domestic. But let me tell you, most of our surface water, it is being used for the industry purpose, and irrigation, it is all the groundwater. So these are the very specific things we have to understand while we are putting these kind of a data. And on the left hand side, you are seeing that it is given that all kinds of recharge is being done, like from the monsoon season, the recharge is being done 55%, then on other sources it is 19%, 6%, 20%. But on top I have put is expected. Why I have put that? Because today, when we say we are recharging, but not even 1% recharge is going on anywhere. Very carelessly, even the government institutions are not taking care of this rainwater harvesting, and we don't understand the meaning of water conservation with rainwater harvesting. So that also we have to understand. And whenever we are talking about use of water, you can see that the groundwater, like discharging from the wells and all, it is almost 54%. But it's actually it's a quite old this picture. But then it's gone more higher. And if you look at the left hand side figure, you can understand how in case of India, we can see the discharge is so high and so fast, and most of the regions are getting today dried. And ultimately groundwater, which is our actually as a bank, water bank, but they are also getting overdraft. For that, the reason is that we understand the way today technology, even the technology which are coming up, they are helping us to extract more and more. But in the olden days, even the same kind of water was being used for irrigation, but it was being used with a very traditional manner, and less water use was very justified. But here you can see how the pumps are drawing the water and there is no control over it, and more impactful, electronic mechanical way that water is being discharged out, and the situation is going very, very worst. And all these things we have to understand only because if we are trying to plan for any kind of solution, we have to understand what is the situation, in what all areas, in if any specific area we have to work. We have to understand what is the kind of the practices which are there, whether there are more industry or there are agricultural practices, or what kind of, even if there are certain sectors are there, what are the sectors. So very specific, like we have to devote more of the time, for 80% time for the survey purpose, 20% it can be used for the solution purpose. More and more, as much we will be doing the survey, we will be getting the right picture. Now, talking about the sewage generation, you can see 40,000 MLD daily by Indian cities. We are producing the sewage, and not even 20% is going and undergoing the treatment. And whatever the treatment which is happening, they are not up to mark at all. So you can see that on an average, that 63%, it is you see that picture which I have shown here, and we can see that 63% that only they are left untreated completely. So this situation has to change, and ultimately, because this is not, the sewage is not being treated, that most of are the ocean, where we are ultimately releasing all the sludges after the treatment, that it is going directly to the ocean, and there is no organic degradation which is happening properly, and there is ocean acidification which is happening, ultimately leading to killing of so many aquatic organisms. Now, actually, I have been given 30 minutes. I don't want to go too much deeper into the science aspect of it, because we have to look at the sewage treatment plant, which I was asked to, explain more. And there we have to look at what is the situation. But ultimately, when we will be looking at those structures, or the engineering structures which are there, the technology which we are trying to put in to do today the sewage treatment or the industrial waste treatment, we have to be having the understanding of life science, biological sciences, because we are not having a proper understanding of science with technology and engineering, and in isolation, these are all being designed and infrastructure is being created, that most of the thing is going wrong. And that's how the organic degradation, which is supposed to happen, and it's not very difficult if at the molecular level we understand that whether we require an organic bacteria or inorganic aerobic bacteria or anaerobic bacteria for the degradation purpose, or how these anaerobic bacteria they function, how through their oxidation reduction reactions, that how oxygen is being generated, and through that how breakdown of the organic matter happens. All these, if we understand in a holistic framework, then only we will be able to give a right kind of solution with the right kind of designs. This we have to understand. And that's why what is happening today, a lot of water bodies are there, and from those places, like suppose I stay in Mumbai today and I'm getting a lot of water from the rural areas, because in Mumbai we have all the pipelines which are laid, and from almost 200 kilometers, 150 kilometers, that the water is supplied to Mumbai. And in Mumbai at the same time we are ignoring our water bodies. But look at here, the people, those who are from the place from where we are drawing water, because most of our rivers, the origin of our rivers are from forest area, and the forest areas mainly in the rural region they are. And because they are in the forest area and the rural region, that the water is very clean in those places. But look at the irony of the people. You can see my cursor on the right hand side, the kind of water they get to drink. Ultimately, they have one or two wells. They also get dried up. And because of drying up with the tanker, these wells are being filled, and these water only these tribals are forced to drink. In this 20th century, look at the people. They are still in 18th century as if, and they are forced to live in such a situation. Actually, I will not take it, like I will not explain. Here in the new education, now in the new education policy in 2020, it is emphasized that whatever the education it is being imparted in the colleges or in any institutions, it has to be in collaboration with the community. That means with the community engagement. Now it is being slowly realized that social mapping is also very, very important along with the technical mapping. Because technically we know that with a certain kind of technology, we are trying to do digital mapping of the places, and then we are finding out the solution. But social mapping, even if you talk to a very senior citizen in that particular place where we are trying to find the solution, that senior person with his experience, he is also able to share his experiences, and that gives a lot of idea to build on a solution. So that's why we must not ignore all these aspects while we are conducting the survey. Now I am showing this place. This is called as a Kushivli River place, and this is one of the area in Thane district, Mumbai, Malangad area. Look at the place, the serenity, and so much pure that the water flows here from the Malangad region. But because we are not able to manage our garbage, that from Mumbai today, almost this is 120 kilometers away place, and here the dumping grounds are also being created, because we are not able to keep our rivers and the water bodies clean, and garbage is increasing so much day by day that is also a very big menace which we have to understand and care for. Now, by this diagram, I'm trying to show that why it is important to understand our nature and how we can help our water bodies to flow in a very natural way. And it is only supposed to be left we should not allow any kind of human intervention, and wherever there is human intervention, there only the issues crop up. Otherwise, nature has its own self-regulatory mechanism, and that's what we have to leave things to happen. Now here the rain which is falling, and in India, see, we are so lucky. Even in Mumbai and even Ghaziabad and these places, we are very lucky. We get more than 50 mm to 1000 mm even rainfall. Other places where there is 10 mm, 20 mm, there also we see in Israel and other countries that they are doing so well with the water justification. But then in India, where we are having so much of rain, the raindrop, we are not allowing it to, percolate in the soil. And unless it is percolating in the soil, it's not able to form the new streams to rivulets, rivulets to rivers, rivers to many of the lakes which are formed. Then ponds are formed. Then the rivulets, rivers have to flow towards the oceans. So this is the characteristic, like the formation, how the river forms, and then how it has to flow. Now, it is very, very essential that the rivers which are there, they are supposed to have its floodplains, and they have to be left alone. Like today, we are not understanding the importance of floodplains. If the floodplains are maintained, that is also the riparian zones of the rivers. And floodplains are much more bigger area, but the riparian zones are just immediately on the sides of the rivers are the areas which are the riparian zone, where you can see the green vegetation and the soil. But today what is happening, we are constructing the protection in the name of protection walls, protection from the floods and all, that we are concretizing the areas. We are grabbing these riparian zones and the floodplains, where actually all the good kind of microbes will be flowing from one place to the other along with the nutrients, and it makes our lands more fertile. But we are not allowing this natural course to happen. We are creating, as an intervention, we are creating a lot of hindrances like the dams. Today we don't require big dams, but still we are announcing big dams whenever we are facing the problem of water. Now dams are not required because we have with our recent experiences, or we have seen the reports and all, where we are seeing that because of the dams that there is lot of siltation. That means sedimentation. Right now, Mohit, the faculty was saying that there is issues of erosions, and we are supposed to work on the issues of erosion. You go to West Bengal, and in Malda Murshidabad region, there is Farakka Barrage, and on the sides of Farakka Barrage, again there is because of the Farakka Barrage 112 gates, that lot of sedimentation is accumulated, and because of that, on the sides, whatever on the bank of the river, that whatever the number of villages are there, they are getting submerged. And with that submergence of these villages, again more bigger kind of that is called as chur lands, and these chur lands are like they are no man's land, and these lands are more moving towards Bangladesh, but we are not noticing all these things. So see, from one thing to the other consequences, we have to also think about that, and in a holistic manner that we have to design anything. Because I've also understood that today there will be also architecture students. So from that point of view, I'm trying to say the consequences and why we have to catch each raindrop, and at the same time we have to make it allow to percolate in the soil, so that the natural system, the microclimate which is there, if it can be it is the self-regulatory system. So if it can be allowed, that would be good. And today this microclimate, and for that only, earlier if you just if we do the historical study of our places, we'll find that lot of lakes and ponds were there, but today they have disappeared. They were like the microclimates which were helping in the climate stability. But today we have lost on this. And if you look at on the right hand, on the right hand side, the impervious surface, that means all paver blocks, all concretization. This is what we are going on in the name of development, and percolation of water is not happening. And that's how more and more atmospheric river, that means at a time in one place, a lot of rainfall with the cloudburst. Hello. So these are the things which are impacting, and we have to understand about that what exactly is required when we say about the homeostasis, or we have to give a complete stability to the nature. Then in that case, we have to, we should not call our water bodies as water bodies. They are the bioreactors. We are not looking at the water bodies as a bioreactors. We are looking at it as a water body, and then we are planning all our designs and all, by which we are going wrong again. And if we are able to understand how these bioreactors work, then we will not require very costly infrastructures which we are developing today, ignoring the natural way that all our sewage can be treated, as well as all our water bodies can flow, as I just showed you the definition of the river. And in that manner, it can easily flow, but then we are not allowing and obstructing with all kinds of concretization. That's why today we are suggesting everywhere, instead of having the typical kind of sewage treatment plants, effluent treatment plants, then central effluent treatment plants, the kind of concretized big tanks we are building to collect the effluents at one place and then treat them. That is all in a wrong manner that we are going on. So it is very essential that we understand today that we have to work on decentralized way of going ahead with finding solutions to everything. If we are putting all fruit in one basket and we are trying to treat, that means in that case, if suppose, for an example, an STP is going for an operation and maintenance purpose, that STP is closed down. Now where your this drainage is supposed to flow then? And in that case, as much time it is taking for the operation and maintenance, or suppose it has something has gone wrong, then in that case, again, this STP closed down and treatment is not happening and load is increasing. And in that manner, that totally we are then becoming failure in treating our water bodies. But look at here, the blue carbon, what we are calling it as, here you are seeing the rhizomes. These rhizomes are very, very important. The kind of bacteria which are there in the symphony of the sewage and the soil which is there, the microbes, they in their own way that they interact with each other and molecular basis of degradation which happens. And for that purpose, it is very, very important that there has to be soil, there has to be a proper way of, giving a structure of wetlands where soil and the sewage, when they come together, a proper the sewage treatment can happen, which is not happening today. And that's why today you must be hearing about lot of constructed wetlands and aerated wetlands and all going on. And now these are the situations in the cities. Everywhere you go, you will find the lakes are in this condition. Even in Ghaziabad area when I was, even in Delhi when I was, in Yamuna and many other water bodies, wherever I have gone, I have seen the condition is not good. Everywhere this kind of garbage dumping or misuse of the water bodies, we are not understanding how we are supposed to maintain our water bodies. This is the biggest nuisance which we are doing. And ultimately, we are not able to do the treatment. Like as I said, that we have to conduct survey as much as possible. Now see, if you see any time on the water body, this kind of hyacinth which is growing. Now, there is eutrophication where you will see small unicellular algae also, then a lot of different kind of algae, and these are the hyacinths. Now, these hyacinths can be repurposed. They can be used for many other purposes, and they have to be left in the water body because they are doing, they are very good to absorb the pollutants, and it is itself, because of these plants, the water body remains, clean to like larger extent. And one thing we have to understand, when we see this kind of a situation on the water body, immediately it gives an indication that there is a lot of drainage discharge which is happening. And that's why it is important that we divert the drainage from this water body, so that first we have to restrict the flow of discharge, then only you can give some solution. But what is happening today everywhere, we are trying to give a solution and not diverting the pollutants, like the discharge we are not diverting, but on the same place we are trying to, like recently in our government, glyphosate was allowed to be sprayed so that we can kill these hyacinths. But then when you apply glyphosate for killing these hyacinth, again understand that we are polluting the water body further and we are increasing the organic load. So this way of thought process we are not doing, and just with if somebody is going with some solution and meeting some politician or some administrator, they are going ahead with the wrong things. And at the same time, I believe as an institutions, like whether we are architecture, engineering, or any institution, whichever is in the vicinity, we have to do the intervention. We have to approach to the institutions, to the administrators and local administration and the administrators, so that we should be intervening and we have to show them the right path, which is today not happening at all. Like when, like this is an example where, that when construction of dams goes on and there is no rehabilitation of the people, those who are living in that place, that means the giving them a rehabilitation is not happening. And when they stay nearby places, then the situation which happens here in one of the picture I'm showing, the nematodes, so much nematodes in the fishes because of the fecal matter, which is so much coming into the water body because they don't have any kind of toilet system and all. And that's why then this is increasing. So I mean to say by this that here also I'm trying to show that there is some textile units, and because of which you can see that the fish have fish death. And here here there is that batteries. Today, car batteries and other batteries, their waste part, they are also, such units are also there on the sides of the water bodies, and all the leaching of such kind of waste is happening in the water body. So most important for us, while we design any kind of infrastructure facility, we have to conduct a complete survey of the place, and then only we should be working on the design part. Now on the right hand side down, I'm trying to show here some sensors and probes. Still in the pollution control board, they are not using much this, but in our institutions we can buy these kind of devices, which is very handy. Immediately with the proper calibrated devices are available, with which immediately we can create we can get the data, and immediately we can share these data and even the solutions with the authorities. So for that purpose, we should be having these devices with us. That is also very essential, because as I said, 80% is all about doing the survey part, and then sharing with all the stakeholders. See here, I'm sharing it with the US consulate, because we have such establishments which are there, those who are interested to collaborate with us, and something we learn from their country, they try to learn from us. So such type of collaborations are also very, very essential. Here in Maharashtra, we had collaborated with the governor of Maharashtra, and then weather station devices. This technology was installed in every institution, so that air monitoring, water monitoring, weather monitoring can happen, so that in the agricultural fields, or to do the monitoring of the weather, maybe for the landslide may happen, or the floods, or heavy rains and all, these indications also can be given. At the same time, the soil moisture and all the data which will be there with that rain pattern and crop pattern and all these, and if suppose we have to do with the drip irrigation or what method, all those can be done while we have the data. At the same time, wherever we are seeing the pollution happening, there we have to do the intervention. We have to meet the authorities. Many a times I see that all of us do a lot of PhD work, lot of research work we try to do, but then just do that for either for the purpose of getting the patent or publishing the papers or for the placement purpose. But we are not sharing it with the local authorities. These data are very, very essential. And please try to select the topics also in such a manner that it will be an application based, so that it will be ultimately useful for some kind of coming up with the solutions. And that's very, very essential while we are doing such kind of a studies. So that's how what we do. We connect with several people, several places, several means, so that lot of awareness is created. And with the awareness that we go ahead with the awareness, so that we all are in the same page. Then we have to bring in, because as much as there will be public awareness today, public awareness is too less, and unless and until public participation is also coming in, as much we will be coming up with the solution, it will not work, because mindset and behavior of people also have to be changed. If you as soon as we go to foreign countries, like we go to America, UK and other places, we stop doing all kinds of nuisance behavior of throwing any garbage anywhere here and there, or spitting and all. But in our country, you will find this very common, and we don't realize also that we are doing wrong thing. So a lot of behavioral change is required, and the good technologies has to be taken to different places. We have to share the technologies. We have to have a lot of deliberations, and we have to be very proactively doing things on the field, off the field. And when we say about the lab to land extension services, now see, there are certain criteria fixed for our NAB assessment, or say NAC assessment and all. And but what we are doing up to the purpose of that assessment, that we are trying to do certain things, we have to go beyond these thoughts now today. Otherwise what happens, it's like an event that we are doing some conferences, we are going for some beach cleaning and all these things, and but ultimately we are not doing the things which we are supposed to. Now, this is the situation which I just now said about that Farakka Barrage. See, look at it here. 112 gates, barrage is there, but all the place you see this silt. And ultimately, erosion, everywhere erosion happening. I don't think that I have not kept a slide here where, you know, another aspect which we have to understand while designing or coming for the solution, that the jurisdictions. Now, the example of this place is, this is a state government place, and but the dam which is constructed, it is the central government's jurisdiction. Now, central government, for this erosion purpose, they are making some concrete tripods, like where, you know, it is able to restrict the sediments, and that's how they had come up with the tripods, they call it, now I'm forgetting the name. But then that is a concrete tripod which is able to restrict the sediments. But what the state government did, they came up with the bamboo tripods. But that bamboo tripods, they are not able to restrict the sediments. And ultimately, the embankments or this kind of the tripods which has been made is ultimately further and further this kind of erosion is continuing. So that is why it is very, very essential. We have to understand about the local administration, the state government, central government, and what are the other technical aspects that we have to understand while we are trying to prepare a solution. Otherwise, it will happen the way it is happening in Malda Murshidabad region in West Bengal, where because of the Farakka Barrage, still there is continued erosion of the Ganga, and things are very much at a bad shape. This is another part of, I'm trying to show the Ganga, where it is called as Jalangi in Nadia district, and lot of the pollution from the drainage is happening. But now people are getting involved. They are trying to remove the hyacinth. They are trying to, you know, collaborate with the local corporation and all. They are trying to do certain work. Here I'm trying to show the continuous contour trenches which are made on the hilly region, so that, you know, a lot of water can remain, and slowly when the rains are happening, it should not be as a runoff that it is flowing through the rivers and it is going to the ocean, because we know today all our rivers have become very shallow. The carrying capacity has completely reduced. Right now, Mohit was also talking about dredging. Now, dredging has become as a, you know, I will say it has become as a style, you know, for the event purpose. Anybody brings in the JCB and they start dredging at any place of the river. But when we are doing this kind of desilting, we have to first do complete mapping, digital mapping. Maybe LIDAR technology is supposed to be used, because with the satellite images, remote sensing images, we are not able to see the depth of, like before and after images if we get. Now we understand that how much we are supposed to remove the silt from what area. So very much important that the technologies which are available, proper mapping has to be there, and then only we should be doing the dredging, or say desilting. And similarly, when we are doing the, yeah.
If I may, another 5 minutes.
I will just show now. I'll take to the Manhattan's picture.
Sure.
Actually, I had to change the
No problem.
one more thing, I will just take this one. Now, when I was in California, I thought in California only this practice is that we put the river in the pipelines. Here, this is Owen River from the Owens Valley, that it is being taken to the Los Angeles, because Los Angeles has lot of, you know, big companies and all that they require, and a big city and lot of requirement of water, that all the water is drawn to the to Los Angeles. But here there is agricultural practices in this California region, but agriculture is totally affected. But when I was there in California, I saw this. But then immediately in India, when I come, in India also we do the same thing. And but why we are doing this? In the name of temple tourism. Here in Ambarnath area, we have a historical Shiv Mandir, and we have a Valdhuni river flowing here. But then we have also put that in this pipeline. So these are the, they are not just doing out of blue, like they are getting in the mind and they are doing something. But then people like us only are suggesting, like some engineers and all. So that is why we have to understand all this situation, and where we have to give what kind of ideas that we have to always remember and give accordingly our ideas. Now look at it here, trying to show the STPs. And now in India, earlier we were not having the enough STP capacities, but now we have also started doing with making big STPs like this. But when we are developing these kind of infrastructures, where just now I said that we collect in tanks, all these tanks, we are collecting all sorts of effluents together. And then we are trying to treat in India right now. But then we are forgetting about the aerosols which we are releasing in the air, and CPCB. Now CPCB norms, when you go to anywhere, they will say that they are following the CPCB norms. This also we have to understand that anything which is given, we cannot just take it blindfoldedly. We have to understand whether these datas are correct, or we should follow this, or what is the right way of going ahead. That also we have to understand. But then see, whatever they have given now, pH, this much range it has to be, then BOD, COD, they have the particular range that they have given that we have to follow. But ultimately what is happening, that it is seen that the compliance is very less and non-compliance is so high. So this is what is happening today in India. At the same time, when I was in Manhattan, I just want to show you some few pictures, how we go wrong with our system. Look at it, the STPs. I had been to Manhattan to learn about how we can bring correctiveness in our infrastructure facilities of the STPs. But I was, devastated when I went there and I saw they are much more, they also need the same kind of reorientation, the way we are thinking for ours, but nothing was new to be learned there. And I found that the STPs are so big ones, 285 million gallon capacity STPs. That means all sorts of effluents are brought together from so much of areas and treated in one STP. And lot of sludge is being created, and ultimately this is the tertiary tank. See, you can see denitrification happening, and then the same this water is ultimately discharged in the river. That means we are, the purpose for which these STPs are, we are not able to isolate, or we are not able to recover those kind of or treat those kind of the pollutants. But yes, we have, in America, they have converted it into water resource recovery facility and even nutrient recover facility. That means phosphates and nitrates are being recovered. But the purpose for which this is designed or this is made, that is not happening. And oh, where is that gone? Another picture is not to be seen. Yeah, okay. So ultimately, I must say that we have gone wrong, and we have to have a complete survey of the things, and the dilution which is happening, because we are bringing all waters together and then diluting the fecal matter, and then we are trying to treat it. So this is all going very wrongly. And grey water, domestic water, we have to understand that, and the storm water, they should not be brought into the same system. They can be treated separately. And in this system, if we have to do little improvisement in this, and then we have to go. You can see besides this, there is small vessels. These kind of vessels, they are bringing sludge from the different places for the dewatering purpose. In this digester here, they are trying to bring it to this infrastructure for removing water from these sludges and then taking it to the landfills. And they feel that with the help of these digesters, that they will be able to kill, those pathogens and all. But the kind of situation, the kind of condition which we are supposed to give in these digesters are not being given as such. And ultimately, the sodium hypochlorite, they finally do the disinfection, and then they discharge it. So all things are going wrong.
You
Now
will
I would
have to
expect
take
some questions.
the last 1 or 2 minutes, please.
Yeah. So ultimately, this is the situation that we are trying to, study about the present infrastructure facilities, and then what is going wrong in the system, and what exactly we have to take it on what line, and how we are supposed to, work on the solution. That is what we have to be more focused on. Today, all the sewage systems are either worked on SBR, MBR, and MBBR way of going with the membranes, and then this activated sludge process, which is the main unit of the treatment plants. They are themselves are so badly managed, or say designed or functioning, that nothing we are able to treat. And not only that we are going wrong with the STPs, but ETP and CETPs are on the same way the designs are. There is no much difference. And if we are treating or the treatment process is same as the sewage treatment for the industrial treatment, you can understand what kind of the way that we are going wrong. We have to see, I'm not going into details of all these things, that how we are wrong in terms of selecting our culture, where we think that our microbes are able to degrade the organic matter, but ultimately instead of the organic microbes, there are a lot of metazoas, protozoas and all which are there, and which is increasing the sludge to so much high. And that's how we are in the anti-entropy manner that we are going on. Actually, a lot of phone calls also coming. This was suddenly taken up. Anyways, so almost I have completed. If you have any questions, we can go ahead. Now I'll stop. And yeah.
Someone like you needs 5 hours.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'll stop sharing. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Fair enough. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I will want to see if the young students here will want to ask her any questions, because that will be the most interesting for all of us. Any one of you who is here as a student, maybe you want to ask Snehal ma'am as to what you want to know on things that she presented. Anyone, please? We have time. We have plenty of time. Professor Mohit Bansal, can you urge your students to see if they can speak? That will help.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Within a minute, they are, I have asked them. So
Nice.
they will be questioning,
Sure. Meantime, maybe you want to say something?
Yes. Yes, ma'am, I was totally with the, conversation, what you have discussed. So we also, from a mechanical background, like we also deals in STPs, sewage treatment plant. So our students also during internships, they also get to know about the STPs, because one of the company our students were associated with. So they have come at our, during the presentation, then they have discussed that in North Block in New Delhi, so there were some STP installation. So they were, discuss this concept of STP. So I'm very much fascinated about the fact that these are being so nicely treated for the treatment. So I take just a second for leave, sir. Just a second.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, should we wait for the youngsters to speak up?
Actually, when the students also go to see these STPs, the perception, that's more important, with what perspectives that we are going, and how we have to look at the STPs, that is also very important. Unless we give that perception to the students before they go.
Sure. Mr. Jain, you're there. Can you say hello to us if you're there? I thought I'll request you to see if you can say something. In the meantime,
well, whatever she said is absolutely the truth, is absolutely mind-boggling. And we in Rajasthan, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, and we in Rajasthan, and me over the years, over the decades, has seen the erosion of water, which was once taking place even in sand dunes. We could collect water for the entire summer. Then all our Bawadis, what's happened to them, and the degradation of the rivers for that matter. And Ramgarh Lake is finished now, which was once hosted the, the Asian Cup rowing, doesn't have a drop of water because of any cuts, because of all the things that she's mentioned now for the past over 20 years. So it's a very sad state of affairs. Very sad. What else can I say from the great knowledge that we've, we knew all this, but she's explained it so beautifully well.
Thank you. For the rest of you, Mr. Oberoi is Jaipur based, and he heads the PJMT mission out there between Rajasthan and Gujarat. Both of those states, as he said, are regions which have had some excellent architecture of water for the last 2000 years. And in 40 years, we have demolished it all in many places. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Jain. Anyone else who wants to speak, who wants to share some thoughts? Sandeep Naran, can I request you, please? Yes, please. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir. Audible?
Yes, please.
Thank you, and good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's a beautiful presentation, Dr. Snehal, and so happy to be part of it and going through it. And we have been working with the students a lot. ABES Engineering College has also been on our radar for last 5, 6, 7 years now. We did Distinguished Lecture Series is one of the series that's happening online. Offline, there was one leadership series talks which was inaugurated. The first talk was done by Dr. Prem Jain himself, and that was in the auditorium of ABES Engineering College. It was 2018 or 17 September, if I am not mistaken, 2017 September. Dr. Saab opened that talks. Now, coming to back to this topic of water, and I have been part of works for water for construction, and all this discussion is going wonderfully. But the beauty of this discussion is that it's coming from Dr. Snehal, who is in Maharashtra, and she has worked worldwide. And what's happening up north. So I've been working in this field for water, and what the discussions that have happened over last few years of my works. So I've seen, and the people who work in the field of water, they divide India into two parts: the part that respects water and the part that doesn't respect water. So ABES Engineering College, and we reside in that part of India, which has in those river plains, which over the generations nobody has talked about reducing the uses of water. Look at our agricultural practices, the way we have used water, the way water has gone down, underground water tables have been replenished. So it's a very interesting topic, and Professor was talking about CTPs. Now the things have changed. Lots of work is happening with National Mission Clean Ganga, and along the Ganga there are lots of CTPs being developed, which is a good way of looking as a career options for the mechanical engineering students over there in the ABES Engineering College. And it's very good that this DLS has happened with ABES Engineering College. So students can take the things from there. And to finish up my small discussion, I would say that we talk about sustainability, we talk about 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. In case of water, even we talk about 4 R's: refuse, reduce, recycle. So in case of water, we should add one more R: respect. We should be respecting water so that we understand how lots of discussions happening on respect for water up north. But if we can see that in practice on the ground, and especially in the colleges, especially in the schools and from the students, I will. Thank you, Dr. Snehal, for being for this webinar that you have conducted for Prem Memorial Trust. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Sandeep. The 5th R that he mentioned, respect, and she started in her first 30 seconds. She said, "Apaha Brahmasmi." It's there as part of our culture. Your grandmother knows it. Your grandmother's mother knows it. Your father talks about it. I am sure at home your mother talks about it. How do you disconnect the culture at home to coming to your college or to go to a restaurant or a railway station? How do you disconnect in a way that you are able to buy a bottle of RO water at 20 rupees? How do you do that? Where is this disconnect in your mind when you go into a 5-star hotel, let's say, and consume at levels that are impermissible for the earth is one thing, but that your grandmother told you that you should not be doing. Mind you, this is one culture. India is about the only region in the entire world where we have had this 3,000, 5,000 years of a continuum of respect for nature. Where did we lose it? Any of you youngsters who want to speak, we would want to hear you, please. Why did we lose it? Anyone, please? I'll offer you an incentive. Those of you who will speak, I'm telling you, you will get to working with Snehal ma'am somewhere or the other someday. Anyone, please. If you do not speak, this meeting is incomplete. Mohit Bansal, you have to rescue us. You have to get your children to speak. If they do not speak, we don't know what they have in their minds. Professor
Or
Bansal?
else they can put in the chat box if they want to ask some
Well,
questions.
they
That
could
also
do
they can
that
write in
too,
the chat.
but there's nothing like speaking.
That's true. That's true.
You have worked with kids for 30 years, so you know why they don't speak. Maybe you can urge them.
Yeah.
We must have children speak today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone, please? A lot of you interesting youngsters are here. Satish Nanjappa, you seem to be somebody from the south. I don't know where you are in Delhi now. You want to speak, Satish? We'll allow you to talk if you say yes. You can say yes on the chat box and we will allow you to speak immediately.
I'm in a webinar.
Anyone who wants to speak? Mohit Bansal, can you coordinate this part and urge some of the youngsters to speak, please?
Actually,
All right. It's always a little.
so
should we
little
say,
I'll add otherwise to
Yeah,
for the
Upendra ji
students only.
wants to talk,
Oh,
say
yes.
something.
Yes. Please enable that for him.
Yes.
Introduce him into the panel.
Yeah.
Yes. There you are. Yes, Ravalji. Yes, Ravalji, you can speak.
The point is, the history of sewage management started on a wrong foot. Since we have more of mechanical engineers and other things, as Professor Bansal said, the centrifugal pumps are not designed to handle more than 3 or 4% of particulate matter. Then, when it came to pumping hundreds of kilometers of sewer distance, more and more water was added to bring it down to less than 1%. So particulate matter and organic matter treatment was overlooked, and water recovery became the main focus of the sewage. Sewage is forgotten. Treatment and pathogen elimination is out of their reach. So water which has no role except it is a liquid carriage. If the engineers understand even the mechanical part of this, I'm not talking about the microbiological part or even organics, but even the mechanical part, if we understand, then a lot can be done. And you see, when Professor Bansal said the dredging, the silt and detritus provides the software of river reactor. And our excavators and engineers are throwing it out. So we destroy a computer system, take away all its software, and then we want the hardware to perform. That's never going to happen. So we see a system integration in totality. Only then we can reach the solution. Thank you.
I think we can ask the students what they have seen there. You know, they went and they have visited some STPs. So what did they see? So from there we can take them to, make them speak. That's what I feel. If the students can speak, that what they have seen when they have gone to the...
Exactly. I think,
they must
we
speak.
need them to speak. Professor Bansal, are you there? Can you say hello to us? Okay, I think he's...
Muni Ravalji, nice to see you.
Any of you students here, please, we'll persist with you for another 15 seconds and then give up. If you do not speak, it's a loss for you. It's a loss for us because we don't know how you're thinking, and we'll be very happy to help you. Just listening to us is of no use for you. Like they say, Hands are the gateway to the mind. You need to work on things. No, I'm obviously not a very successful man when it comes to persuading these people. There is a hand raised somewhere, Yatin. You have to, I'm not a host, so Mahi Verma wants to speak. Allowed to talk, okay. Mahi, you can speak now. You can unmute and speak, please. Mahi Verma? Yes, please. You can
Mahi is just joined as Green Ambassador, PJMT for the next 6 months.
Good. Let it speak. You know, youngsters can speak. Mahi Verma, please speak. We want to hear anyone under 25 years. We don't want to hear the rest. Yes, Mahi.
Good evening, sir.
Namaskar. Good evening.
Verma.
Yes. Yes.
How
please.
are you, sir?
Wonderful. Please tell us.
So my question is that there are many private NGOs which are working for cleaning the rivers. But do you think that the policies of government are enough to clean our rivers in like 5 to 10 coming years? Because after that, I think it will be irreversible to clean all the rivers because there is a lot of pollution in our rivers.
Have you worked on any rivers as a volunteer?
Sorry, sir.
Have you joined any such team as a volunteer who have been working on river revival or
No.
rejuvenation? No.
No, sir, I just joined PJMT.
Fair enough. How do you think policy will help? Policy is just a statement. Who will actually implement it?
Government will implement it.
Government
And
is you and me. What can government do? They'll put one notification in the Gazette. And none of us will even know that such a notification exists. What will we do, Mahi?
But I think like they can take the help of volunteers. Many youngsters are really interested in spreading awareness about the river cleaning campaigns that are going on here and there by private NGOs. So I think they can take help from the youngsters. They can make any policy in which youngsters may come and they can involve themselves in the cleaning of those rivers.
When you say they, who is this they in the government?
They are the youth of our nation.
All right.
Finally.
In any of you others who want to join Mahi and add value to what she's saying? Any of you here? Ashwini, Christina, Ajizul Khan? Anyone, please? Dhirinder Singh, Faresh Mandal? Anyone? You want to join Mahi? She was brave. She said all the right things. She says, well, we need something from government. We want you to tell us whether she's right, wrong, or maybe you want to add to what she has said. Rojina Parveen, Pradeep Malik, anyone? Sumit Kumar? No?
So Mahi, I would like to reply to Mahi's question.
Yes, please.
Mahi, one thing we have to understand when we talk about policies and all, before that we have to understand our own education system where whatever we are taught in the class is a syllabus. There is much broader aspect to our syllabus is the curriculum. In the curriculum, you have all the freedom to do the work for the nature, like maybe certain extension activities are there, outreach programs are there, and in that we are supposed to do different activities. There, as you said rightly, that many of you are interested in doing this work and you are very much feeling like joining them and then doing good work. So in that, nobody stops us from doing anything good. Of course, we should not look at what are the policies which are there. Of course, there are in the policies, in fact, there are policies which says that for the rural development purpose or for the growth purpose,
That's not
that
a few young.
students should
I'll
be
clear all
involved.
these things, then leave.
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, go on, please.
Yeah. So in the policies, already it is there that there has to be collaborations. Every department has the collaborations. Like if it is central institutes, that in their objectives itself, or the government bodies objective itself to connect to the public. Now, if we go and collaborate with them, nobody will stop us. And for the main thing is policies are many, but effective implementation is not happening because people like us, we are not taking the steps which are supposed to be, and we have to contribute that from our end, we have to contribute, which is not happening today. And in terms of policies, if you look at in the education system, there is NSS, DLLE, NCC, all these are already put into the system for the purpose that we should be connecting with the community and doing all this work so that, ultimately we are able to give solutions. So we have to become as a solutionaries. Already it is embedded in the policy.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for
Thank
your
you,
question.
Mahibab. I'm very glad you spoke up. It's nice that you spoke. Okay, if any of the others here are not going to speak, we are all friends. We all know each other very, very well. So we will, of course, be sharing. I don't know if you would not have all been there because you're a different group, but at the same forum, Dr. Raval has spoken in the past, and he has presented some very interesting views. And one of the laments, I will say, I'm talking to all of you youngsters here, one of the laments, one of the grievances, let us say, that he has is that we take issues, we discuss it, and then we leave it adhura. We don't, somebody asks a question, nobody answers. And then after that, we go away and say, very nice. Raval sir spoke very well. He was very inspiring. Snehal madam said some very, very nice things today. What do you do about it? How do you assimilate, internally think through these things, go back to teachers like Mohit sir and say, this is what I want to do, sir. I heard Snehal madam. Is there a way after my graduation I can go to her and work with her or some such thing? Or can I go to Raval sir and ask a few questions? Anyone who wants to speak on that? Any of you youngsters want to speak on that? Ask Jain sir. Every time he knows, he's there regularly in these sessions. And he says, you keep asking children to speak? Well, they don't. Jain, do you have anything to add to that, to what I am saying? How do we get children to interact? Yes.
It's very, very sad that there's been no interaction from the children.
Yeah.
I think it's lack of awareness. We have to, what I have always been saying, we have to make them aware. And that's how they'll come up and speak in the curriculums and so on and so forth. I mean, I could tell these children that when I came back from US many decades back, I joked that in US you have to pay for water. Did I know that 2, 3 decades, 4 decades later, our people will have to pay for water in this country, and there'll be practically no drinkable water left. So what is happening is that we're just going to textbooks, we're just going to this thing, but we are not creating an awareness amongst the children. And some of the schools are, but how do we apply it as a general rule? I have seen young students who are also reached up as far as the greening process sustainability is concerned, where they're revolting against their parents for not adopting. But what about the mass? So, ladies and gentlemen, and for all of people like you who are involved in the education system, get down to the brass roots level. That's most important. Otherwise, there would have been 20 questions today. It's very sad.
Anyone, please. रोजीना, आप वैसे हिंदी में भी कह सकते हो आप, ये ऐसा नहीं रहा कि वैसे अंग्रेजी में भी बात करना है. हाँ जी, anyone else? I'm sure at home you will have 20 things to talk about. Go ahead. All right. I'll give up. You have been a teacher, Snehal, for 30 years. I respect all of you like that. What is your advice to these children beyond water as human beings?
My advice would be, as Rumuni Ravalji always says, that it is academicians and researchers are not contributing rightly.
Correct.
So as a student, we are supposed to be more and more proactive, and we are supposed to be learning from every sources. And unless we are inquisitive, Unless we are curious, we will not be able to learn more. Craving should be there. Like we have craving for other things, we should have that craving, which is nowadays, like we want everything with the shortcut, like in the era of this Google, that everything we are getting the information, so we are least bothered, and that much we are taking the matter, and we want to just get the degrees. Do not do that kind of a study. You have to do the study with which you are able to make you more and more capable, and you are able to not only do something for yourself, but at the same time for the community. With that, you become into a good human being. We have to focus on these aspects while we are trying to look at water or our own education, or we are even participating in any of the forum. We have to be with that kind of a frame of mind.
Absolutely. Haji Sandeep Narang, you have addressed thousands of students over nearly 200 colleges, right? What is your advice to this set of children who are here today?
I understand. Actually, I have been meeting students of these colleges like ABES.
From
KAIT and
Haryana
other.
to Kanpur, 200
Yes, everywhere,
colleges.
everywhere,
That's right.
everywhere.
Yep.
And the students are inquisitive. I don't know why they are not opening up today, but we had wonderful interaction with ABS, and it's a beautiful college. I would appreciate Professor Mohit Bansal sir coming and joining this with the students.
Gee.
Sir, somehow in the curriculum, or somehow how sustainability can add to the aspirations of students. There is definitely an angle when students go, for students, they have their own priorities. One is their curriculum, studies, then they need a job. It's not easy being a student, that too in a private college where your families are spending money for the education you are getting. So this education or this system, somehow they end up vying for the jobs. I keep on telling the students wherever I go that this knowledge will add to your job aspirations in a big way. So it's a cross-dimensional skills. These do matter these days. You are a mechanical engineer, that's right. But knowing about water, knowing about efficiency in water consumption in the industry, whatever industry you go and work, you might end up making cars, automobile industry. You might end up working in a factory making steel. So what is the water uses? How can you be efficient? People are more inclined towards the energy efficiencies. That's right. Because energy does cost 13 rupees a unit or 14 rupees a unit. That's the commercial cost in the industries. What about water? So these knowledge gain, or this knowledge in sustainability parameters, this do speak a lot for your career advancement, number one, and climate change, ESG, these are the buzzwords. So I keep on telling students, please try to get as much knowledge on the Panch Bhutas, air, water, materials that are to be that you are supposed to be interacting in your coming years as professional. So I will again end up saying this only to the students: be inquisitive, ask questions about the right things, and keep on learning more and more about what's green and what's needed in India. Look where India is going, what's happening, what will be happening 10 years down the line, where India is heading. I believe all the engineering, or 70% of the engineering, will be focused on clean water for everyone and clean air for everyone. That's what the mission of the government is. So there's lots of work to be done, and there are the scope for the jobs or career advancements.
I am hoping that all of you have heard Sandeep sir. There are great opportunities here, far more remunerative than working in some IT company or in a tech park. Trust me on this. There is money to be earned by you also. I know making a living is also important for you all. Raval sir, you want to speak?
I want to make an announcement, Hariji. Our education system is identifying the student coming out with the best answer. On this platform, I leave it to you to pick up a person, a student comes out with the best question, incisive question, and I will offer rupees 5,000 rupees a year to the best question picked up by you and Professor Sandeep Narang and all that. I will have no role in identifying this question. But I take the responsibility that if I do not make the students speak up or come out with questions that bothers them, I'm sure some questions are bothering them, then there is something lacking in our imparting the training.
True.
So I take the responsibility, declare a prize for the best question.
Okay, got it.
Thank you.
Professor Mohit Bansal, we are down to 21 attendees just now. And if I minus some 2, 3, 4, 5 senior people, there are about 16 people now. 1/2 of the numbers were there. You have to think about it, Professor Bansal. You know, like Sandeep sir said, ABS is known as a college of repute. And these are mechanical engineers, as he reminded us. I would like you to do some soul searching. I'd like you to talk to those people if you're here now and listening to me, and see that these students and more of these students learn some soft skills. We can forget everything that Dr. Donde told us about today. We don't want to know total useless things that she's talking about. No problem. But let us see that at least our skills on basic etiquette, on learning, the confidence to speak and share what we have in our mind. These are learned by them. Professor Bansal, yes, please. Thank you. Ravalji, I have one personal note to strike with you. You are seeing Mr. Jain Oberoi here. He has been part of the CII first. He's been part of the IGBC. You know that several times you say, I say these fellows were all in IGBC, IPA, something else. They don't do the right things. I will enable a call with Jain. He's a good friend, lovely person, you know, wonderful work he has done on many, many hotels and things like that across Rajasthan and Gujarat and places like that. He runs a company which is as old as India is, all right, and a very deeply passionate person on the country, and, you know, is a good patriot. If some of the seminal directions we are talking about, whether it comes to sewage, SFS, for instance, sewage-free, what is it, sewage of that kind?
SFS, sewage-free sewer.
Correct. And how we must have mandatory in every building, how we should have a septic tank to hold the sludge and the rest of the sewage can only go, or how we don't need aeration for, you know, wastewater treatment systems, as our Snehal is also talking about. All of these we can discuss with him. Some 3, 4, if we give him a blueprint for action. I've seen with him in Rajasthan, he has moved things with the government and has succeeded in bringing change. Jain, you want to say something right now? And one day I will get to Ravalji.
See, I would say that in Rajasthan and Gujarat,
yes, please,
the septic tanks have been a part of our existence. It's been introduced to the rest of the India much later because our water levels were so low, and you know, and the silage was taking care of that, and the rest of the water would go into the ground. But that's something. But now what has happened is that with the advent of the newer systems of sewage and sewerage, people are not making use of these septic tanks. But yes, septic tanks is very, very important to create silage and take out the water and throw it away. And Rajasthan people know it, Gujarat people know it, where the water levels are very, very deep, 500, 400, 300 feet deep.
Sure.
But I wonder how they would work in places where there's rain.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll give you, I want to submit one equation of principles. Health of a water body, whatever the principles involved, is inversely proportional to sewage degradation.
Yeah.
If you want to employ aeration for a lake, there is no scope for any aeration in sewage because the principle is opposite. Now we want to understand, we have a session on that, we'll deal with it.
We'll do that.
Yes.
We will close with that as the last note. We have spent 91 minutes. I must thank Snehal once again, Dr. Snehal Donde once again, for agreeing at such immensely, impossibly short notice. I told her, I think at 2:15, and she instantly agreed on a message. And Yatin, nobody thanks you. You're doing a great job, and without you backing us up with all the administrative support, none of these programs will happen. Thank you, Yatin, for being here. Right, Mai
you so
Verma,
much.
thank you
Yeah.
once again for speaking up. So you all of you have to speak up. Yes, sir, Ramaji. You have to unmute.
Our sympathies to Madhulika ji for whatever discomfort
We
she
will
is.
speak to her. Yeah. The next month we will have Madhulika Chaudhary. She's been doing some immensely inspiring work. I can tell you that. Yesterday, one of the people who is part of our group at some other level of another forum called the Wow Action Forum, he tells me that when I am born next time in my next Janma, I have to be born to do things like Madhulika, he tells me. That is how inspiring her work is. And she is Hyderabad based. She will be speaking on the last Friday of the next month in May. Look forward to it. And you will get, of course, you will get invitations for that. Please join us then. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sandeep. And thank you, everybody. Yeah. Goodbye. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Snehal ji, once again.